Have you ever contemplated whether the foods you consume daily are insidiously harming your heart with each bite? We are all aware that salt can adversely affect our cardiovascular health, as our physicians caution us and the media reports. However, what if I informed you that there exists a substance even more detrimental than salt, something significantly more perilous, and it is likely residing in your kitchen at this very moment? You may have consumed it for breakfast this morning, oblivious to the damage it inflicts. Annually, over 700,000 Americans succumb to heart disease, and the most alarming aspect is that many of these fatalities. The situation could have been averted by identifying specific foods to eschew, not merely the apparent ones, but rather the insidious everyday items that elevate blood pressure, obstruct arteries, and compromise cardiac health without any discernible warning. These are the foods we rely on, the ones we select in haste, and those we consumed during our upbringing, as no one informed us otherwise. Such foods are replete with sugars, concealed fats, and chemicals that incite silent inflammation, which accumulates gradually until it becomes irreparable. Moreover, one of the most detrimental options is particularly surprising. Many individuals still perceive certain offenders as healthy food options, potentially feeding them to their grandchildren under the impression of making a beneficial choice. However, scientific evidence contradicts this belief. This particular food elevates blood sugar levels, damages arterial health, and heightens the risk of heart attack or stroke, particularly for those over 50. In today's video, we will thoroughly explore 13 prevalent foods that are scientifically demonstrated to be detrimental to heart health, foods that a majority of Americans over 50 consume regularly, often without recognizing the associated risks. This discussion extends beyond merely fast food. This list encompasses food items, snacks, beverages, condiments, and purportedly healthy options that may be more detrimental than beneficial. Remain engaged until the conclusion, as the most harmful food for your heart may astonish you. It is a widely favored breakfast item throughout America. Understanding its true impact on your body will alter your perception of it permanently. Remember, it is never too late to safeguard your heart and extend your lifespan. A few straightforward modifications and awareness of what to eschew can significantly influence your health. So, prepare a cup of tea and settle in. Let us explore the concealed threats that may be diminishing your lifespan unbeknownst to you. Your heart and loved ones depend on your awareness. Sugary beverages represent a deceptive peril that jeopardizes cardiovascular health. Consider this. When was the last occasion you opted for a chilled soda, a sweet iced tea, or perhaps a seemingly healthy fruit juice? Such choices are so prevalent that we often do not reflect on their implications. However, the reality is far more alarming than one might assume. Sugary drinks function as liquid confections, yet they differ significantly from a mere piece of chocolate. A slice of cake rapidly impacts your physiology. The sugar rush surges into your bloodstream, compelling your pancreas to excessively produce insulin. Each occurrence inflicts harm on your blood vessels. The peril escalates, particularly with advancing age, as these sugary beverages contribute not merely to superficial weight gain, but also incite profound inflammation within your body, compromising the arteries that sustain cardiac function. Over time, this insidious damage accumulates, heightening the risk of myocardial infarctions and cerebrovascular accidents, regardless of your overall health status. Individuals are not overweight and should not be misled by designations such as diet or zero sugar. Research indicates that diet sodas may pose similar risks, inciting insulin resistance and disrupting gut health, both significant contributors to heart disease. Additionally, boxed fruit juices that assert being natural or rich in vitamins frequently contain high fructose corn syrup, which burdens the liver, fosters perilous abdominal fat, and elevates triglyceride levels dramatically. Alarmingly, a substantial number of individuals over 50 consume these beverages daily without awareness. Recognizing that they are consuming heart-related issues with every sugary beverage, it becomes increasingly challenging for our bodies to recover from such harm as we age. The solution is straightforward. Eliminate sugary drinks and substitute them with sparkling water, unsweetened iced tea, or a hint of lemon in your water. Your heart and waistline will express gratitude. Furthermore, this is merely the outset, as the subsequent food item on our list is more pervasive than one might expect, and is even more insidious than sugary drinks. Remain engaged, you will not regret it. Consider the impending threat concealed within your pantry: hydrogenated vegetable oils. Allow me to pose a question. Have you ever applied margarine to your morning toast, relished a commercially produced cookie, or consumed a quick fried meal at your preferred diner? It may seem innocuous, perhaps even healthier than butter. However, what if I informed you that this seemingly benign practice could be gradually compromising your cardiovascular health? The genuine peril resides in hydrogenated vegetable oils, which are chemically modified to extend the shelf life of processed foods. The rich, creamy texture of certain oils can lead to the formation of trans fats, which are among the most hazardous substances for human consumption. Trans fats are insidious, elevating harmful LDL cholesterol while diminishing beneficial HDL cholesterol and instigating chronic inflammation throughout the body, particularly within the arteries. This combination creates an optimal environment for heart attacks, strokes, and hypertension, conditions that inherently increase our risk as we age. Alarmingly, these oils often go unnoticed. Trans fats can be concealed in packaged cookies, crackers, commercially produced pastries, fried foods from restaurants, certain supposedly healthy breads, and microwave popcorn. Be wary of labels that assert 0 grams of trans fat. Food manufacturers are permitted to round down if there is less than half a gram per serving. These minimal quantities can accumulate rapidly, particularly if multiple servings are consumed daily. The World Health Organization has cautioned that no level of trans fat is safe, and its elimination could avert millions of heart-related ailments. Global mortality rates necessitate careful scrutiny of food labels. Identify terms such as partially hydrogenated oils and avoid them. Replace margarine with extra virgin olive oil or genuine butter in moderation. For frying, select healthier oils like avocado or coconut oil, but use them sparingly. Each minor adjustment you implement and every detrimental oil you exclude contributes to increased longevity, enhanced vitality, and a more robust cardiovascular system. Anticipate further alarming information regarding the effects of frying with these oils on your health. Fried foods and their detrimental effects on health are far more severe than commonly perceived. These crispy delicacies are detrimental to cardiovascular health, contributing to internal aging. Picture this. You are at your preferred diner, enveloped by the aroma of crispy fries and golden fried chicken. You may perceive it as a mere indulgence, but the reality is more alarming. It is not solely the sodium content that poses a risk. Rather, it is the transformation of oil when heated, which converts each morsel into a potential hazard for your heart. Potatoes, chicken, or fish subjected to repeated frying in oil, particularly in commercial kitchens, release toxic compounds that the body finds difficult to metabolize. These compounds can harm cellular structures, contribute to arterial stiffness, and exacerbate inflammation, which is a precursor to heart attacks and strokes. Furthermore, fried foods are replete with saturated and trans fats, both of which are established to elevate harmful LDL cholesterol levels while diminishing beneficial HDL cholesterol levels. Over time, this imbalance fosters the accumulation of atherogenic plaque within the arteries, obstructing the essential pathways required for cardiac vitality. The situation is exacerbated by the fact that numerous fast food establishments repeatedly recycle their cooking oil, degrading it to a state laden with detrimental chemicals. With each crispy morsel, you are not merely satiating your hunger. You are accelerating cellular aging, straining your heart, and significantly increasing your susceptibility to heart disease. Have you observed how fried foods induce a sense of lethargy and heaviness post-consumption? This reaction signifies your body's struggle to metabolize those unhealthy fats, a challenge that intensifies with age, ultimately contributing to weight gain. Hypertension and metabolic syndrome are concerning conditions. However, you possess the ability to manage them. Minimize the consumption of fried foods, particularly from fast food establishments or diners, where the freshness of the oil is uncertain. If you desire a crunchy texture, consider baking or utilizing an air fryer at home with heart-healthy oils, which will benefit your cardiovascular health. Furthermore, the subsequent item on this list poses a similar risk and may currently reside in your refrigerator: processed meats and their detrimental effects on your heart. Stay tuned for more information on processed meats. breakfast favorites that are now disheartening. This may resonate deeply, as few can resist the aroma of sizzling bacon in the morning or a substantial ham sandwich for lunch. For many, these have been comfort foods since childhood, integral to the American diet. However, the stark reality is that processed meats such as bacon, sausages, ham, and salami carry a concealed cost that your heart cannot bear. These meats are laden with saturated fats, sodium, and chemicals known as nitrites and nitrates. Preservatives are incorporated to maintain flavor, color, and shelf life. However, upon ingestion, these same chemicals may become toxic, elevating blood pressure, obstructing arteries, and potentially heightening the risk of specific cancers. It is not solely the fat that warrants concern, although it significantly elevates low-density lipoprotein, LDL, cholesterol levels. The interaction of processed meats with the body, particularly when subjected to high temperatures, is critical. Research indicates that frying bacon or grilling sausages leads to the formation of nitrosamines from these preservatives. Highly inflammatory compounds are directly associated with heart disease and cancer. This poses an even greater risk for individuals over 50, as arterial flexibility diminishes with age. When combined with the excessive sodium from processed meats, the strain on the heart intensifies daily, elevating the likelihood of heart attacks, strokes, and premature mortality. Furthermore, low-fat or lean labels can be misleading, as sodium and chemicals persist, insidiously damaging cardiovascular health. The positive aspect is that you need not entirely forego your preferred flavors. Instead, substitute processed meats with healthier proteins such as grilled chicken, wild-caught fish, or even nutrient-rich plant-based alternatives. If you desire a smoky flavor, consider seasoning meats naturally or slow roasting them at home. The reality is that each slice of bacon or sausage you forego could potentially extend your lifespan. Next, we will discuss a purportedly healthy substitution that may be detrimental to your cardiovascular health. Margarine and vegetable creams are marketed as healthy spreads, but they may accelerate heart aging. Many individuals have opted for margarine, believing it to be a heart-healthy alternative. For years, it was promoted as superior due to its lower saturated fat content and reduced caloric value. However, the alarming reality is that these so-called healthy spreads could be more detrimental to your heart than butter. Margarine and vegetable creams are frequently produced from hydrogenated vegetable oils, abundant in trans fats, the most detrimental type of fat for cardiovascular health, elevate low-density lipoprotein, LDL, cholesterol, while simultaneously diminishing high-density lipoprotein, HDL, cholesterol. This combination fosters an environment conducive to arterial blockage, hypertension, and cardiovascular disease. Moreover, trans fats accelerate the aging process within the body, instigating cellular inflammation that compromises blood vessels and necessitates increased cardiac workload. Over time, this cumulative damage heightens health risks. Heart attacks, strokes, and type 2 diabetes are exacerbated by the insidious nature of certain fats. Numerous margarine brands and vegetable creams still harbor trace amounts of trans fats, despite labeling that indicates 0 grams per serving, as U.S. regulations permit rounding down for amounts less than 0.5 grams. Regularly spreading such products on toast can accumulate significant quantities over time. Furthermore, many individuals are unaware that cooking or baking with margarine, particularly at elevated temperatures, causes it to decompose further, releasing harmful compounds. Refined foods can harm your heart and hasten the aging process. Therefore, a more prudent choice is to revert to fundamental options. If you require a spread, utilize real butter in moderation, or preferably, transition to heart-healthy alternatives such as extra virgin olive oil or avocado spread, which nourish your body without concealed risks. It is essential to recognize that the minor decisions we make daily significantly influence our long-term health. Speaking of minor choices, the next topic is a food that many consume daily, yet it may be causing more harm than benefit: refined foods. Refined breads and pasta, often regarded as daily comfort foods, may be detrimental to cardiovascular health. While warm bread and a hearty bowl of pasta evoke feelings of nostalgia and comfort, they are predominantly composed of white flour, which has been deprived of essential nutrients. Fiber, Vitamins, iron, and nutrients result in a rapidly acting carbohydrate that elevates blood sugar levels almost immediately, compelling the body to secrete substantial amounts of insulin to compensate. Over time, this persistent fluctuation of blood sugar and insulin can lead to insulin resistance, a significant risk factor for heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and perilous visceral fat accumulation, which envelopes the organs and silently heightens the risk of hypertension, pressure, strokes, and heart attacks. Have you observed how consuming a sandwich or a substantial bowl of pasta can leave you feeling hungry again within an hour? This phenomenon occurs because refined carbohydrates do not provide lasting satiety. They metabolize rapidly, resulting in increased cravings. Consequently, the surplus calories frequently convert directly into visceral fat, the most perilous type of fat for cardiovascular health. Moreover, it is important to note that many whole wheat breads available in stores are often merely white flour with a minimal addition of whole grains and sugar, misleading consumers regarding their nutritional value. To mitigate blood sugar spikes, consider substituting refined carbohydrates with genuine whole grains, such as 100% whole wheat bread, brown rice, quinoa, and sweet potatoes. These foods digest more slowly, stabilizing blood sugar levels and promoting long-term cardiovascular health. Ultimately, the dietary choices you make today will influence your heart health in the future. Next, we will explore one of the most significant sweet temptations that may be adversely affecting your heart more than you realize: processed sweets and their inherent dangers. Remain with me as we explore the insidious allure of desserts, how cookies, cakes, and ice cream are obstructing your arteries. It is understandable. Who does not relish a sweet indulgence post-dinner? A scoop of ice cream, a slice of cake, or a few cookies alongside your coffee seems innocuous, perhaps even well-deserved after a taxing day. However, what many fail to recognize is that these seemingly benign pleasures may be subtly jeopardizing your cardiovascular health to a greater extent than anticipated. Processed confections, prominently displayed on grocery store shelves, are replete with refined sugars and trans fats. Chemical additives, particularly sugar, inundate your bloodstream upon indulgence, compelling your body to secrete insulin to regulate the surge. Frequent consumption precipitates insulin resistance, a precursor to type 2 diabetes, obesity, and, as anticipated, significant cardiovascular issues. Moreover, the concealed trans fats employed to impart an ideal texture and extended shelf life to cookies and cakes insidiously contribute to arterial hardening. Over time, they generate sticky plaque that obstructs your blood vessels, exacerbating health risks. As artificial flavors, preservatives, and colorings accumulate in your body, they hinder your heart's functionality, leading to chronic inflammation that adversely affects your cardiovascular health. The most alarming aspect is that this deterioration often goes unnoticed until a physician alerts you to blocked arteries or elevated blood pressure. While I am not suggesting you forego indulgence entirely, a more prudent choice when cravings arise is to opt for dark chocolate with a minimum of 70% cocoa content. Fresh cacao fruit or homemade desserts crafted from natural ingredients can effectively satiate your cravings without introducing excessive sugar and chemicals into your body. Each time you decline processed sweets, you affirm your commitment to your heart, your health, and the prospect of more fulfilling years with loved ones. Next, we will delve into one of the primary offenders in American diets: fast food options consumed on the go, and their true impact on your cardiovascular health. This is a discussion you won't want to overlook. Allow me to inquire, how often have you visited a fast food establishment? The drive-thru is appealing due to its convenience, speed, and, admittedly, flavor. A burger, fries, and perhaps a milkshake may seem like an innocuous indulgence. However, the reality is seldom discussed. Fast food is detrimental to cardiovascular health. Each bite is laden with trans fats, refined sugars, excessive sodium, and chemical additives, an insidious amalgamation that jeopardizes heart health long before any symptoms manifest. The burgers, fried chicken, and golden fries are frequently prepared in oils that have been reused multiple times. Repeatedly, it has been demonstrated that oil degrades, generating toxic compounds that exacerbate arterial inflammation and elevate low-density lipoprotein cholesterol, thereby predisposing individuals to cardiovascular diseases, strokes, and potential cardiac incidents. However, the issue extends beyond frying. The sodium content in fast food is alarmingly high, often exceeding the daily recommended intake in a single combo meal. This excessive sodium contributes to fluid retention, hypertension, and compels the heart to exert greater effort with each contraction. Furthermore, even the buns and sauces contribute to this detrimental effect. Dressings are replete with concealed sugars and chemicals, while the sugary bun and special sauce elevate blood sugar levels, encourage abdominal fat accumulation, and exacerbate insulin resistance, thereby complicating cardiac function. It is unsurprising that research indicates individuals who frequently consume fast food face a markedly increased risk of heart disease, obesity, diabetes, and premature mortality, even if they currently appear to be of normal weight. Although fast food is convenient and time-saving, the subsequent costs in terms of hospitalizations, medications, and reduced lifespan are simply not justified. If you genuinely wish to safeguard your heart, it is imperative to reconsider fast food. Substitute that drive-through meal with a home-cooked option such as grilled chicken, roasted vegetables, or a substantial salad. Your heart will express gratitude daily. Next, we will address a common misconception regarding energy drinks, which many believe provide vitality but are, in fact, detrimental to heart health. Stay tuned as we discuss the dangers of energy drinks, the purported pick-me-up that may be harming your heart. Have you ever opted for one of those? Vibrantly hued energy beverages may seem appealing, offering the promise of an additional surge to navigate through the day, as they are ubiquitous in gas stations, grocery stores, and gyms, touting benefits such as energy, focus, and stamina. However, what these eye-catching cans fail to disclose is that they significantly elevate your risk of a heart attack. Energy drinks are replete with exorbitant levels of caffeine, sugar, and potent stimulants such as taurine and guarana. While the initial sensation may appear innocuous, the repercussions on cardiac health are far from benign, particularly as one ages. The consumption of caffeine not only enhances alertness but also accelerates heart rate, constricts blood vessels, and elevates blood pressure. For individuals with pre-existing hypertension or compromised arterial health, this can pose significant risks. Research indicates that energy drinks may induce heart palpitations, arrhythmias, and even cardiac arrest, occasionally in otherwise healthy individuals. Furthermore, many energy drinks contain excessive amounts of sugar, often exceeding 50 grams per can, surpassing that of a typical soda. Elevated blood glucose levels contribute to abdominal adiposity and precipitate insulin resistance, which is a rapid pathway to cardiovascular disease in individuals with type 2 diabetes. Even the purported sugar-free alternatives are not devoid of risk, as they are often replete with artificial sweeteners and chemicals that can compromise gut health, exacerbate inflammation, and further burden cardiac function. Alarmingly, energy drinks lack appropriate warning labels. However, for individuals over 50, particularly those with pre-existing cardiac conditions, they pose significant risks. If you find yourself inclined to consume an energy drink to navigate daily challenges, it is imperative to reconsider habitual choices. Substitute sugary beverages with water, unsweetened iced tea, or moderate amounts of black coffee. Furthermore, nourish your body with whole foods that inherently sustain energy levels, as your heart is not equipped to endure such daily stressors. Next, prepare to discover how a seemingly innocuous breakfast cereal may be detrimental to your heart health. Stay tuned. We are merely beginning to explore this breakfast misstep that jeopardizes your cardiovascular well-being. Failure of sugary breakfast cereals. Allow me to illustrate a common scenario. You awaken, pour a vibrant bowl of cereal, perhaps add a dash of milk, and convince yourself that you are commencing your day positively. However, the startling reality is that this purportedly healthy breakfast is likely among the most detrimental choices for your body, particularly if you are over 50 and concerned about your cardiovascular health. The majority of those widely favored breakfast cereals, which occupy every grocery store aisle, are merely sugar-laden products masquerading as nutritious options.